Mike, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Renegade's Room, and today we are talking about the one video game that took the entirety of the internet by storm, Escape from Tarkov. Alrighty, so today's topic of discussion is Escape from Tarkov. Escape from Tarkov is a realistic survival looter shooter FPS that can be found on PC and PC alone. It's currently in private beta. It is open to the public, however, you just gotta go to the developer site to make the purchase, and then they email you the launcher code and all that fun stuff. So it's technically private beta, however, it is open to the general public. The cool thing about it is it takes all the aspects of shooters that we've known from previous games like Call of Duty, like Battlefield, and throws everything good about those together into one game and then steps it up a notch above that. Beyond that, Tarkov itself is, obviously multiplayer. You can play with up to 5 friends in one mode and then 4 friends in the other mode, so it makes it for a jolly old time around the LAN party with all your sweaty friends.
I'm like,
Okay, so off the top of your head, what do you like about Tarkov?
oh god, how it kicks me in the teeth. Like, I mean, I've been from a lot of games where the grind is real, but especially because I was an avid Destiny 2 player for a while. No other game grinds like Tarkov. I can work all the way to get something, lose it immediately, and have to start again. There was no game that really did that for me. Destiny 2, I'd grind, I'd get the special item, the huge gold thingy, kill people in PvP, and that would be it. In this game, I grind, I get the huge gold thingy, and then some dude in a corner with a Mosin Nagant takes me out in one shot.
He sees your gold thingy, and he wants it more than his gold thingy, and then there's a gold thingy exchange.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we'll get a little bit more into the breakdown of all that in just a second. So what makes Tarkov so immersive is not just the gameplay and the feelings you get from it, but also the way that the world is built. So basically, Tarkov is a city in a fictional province in Russia, on the verge, or not even on the verge, post Civil War.
Yeah.
Modern Civil War, of course. So the city of Tarkov itself was once a hotspot for the trade between Russia itself and the rest of Europe. And as we see a hotspot where the economy is thriving and all this power is being brought into one spot, there's going to be a struggle and combat for everybody who wants the hot item. The hot item being, the city of Tarkov. By the way, we are by no means Tarkov experts. We are level 15 and 12? What level are you? I'm level 12.
I am stupid still new at this game.
Yeah, we're still super new to leveling and all that stuff, but we've been playing a lot. So there's a lot to it that we've uncovered and stuff. With that being said, let's get back to the setting. So you have this province, Tarkov, that is trying to be, overrun by the corporations who want to maximize their income, and then Russia who wants to keep it free, and this creates conflict. Armed conflict, actually. And that's where our... What are they called? Not even, no, yes. But what do you call, the subdivision of the PMC? That's where our organizations come in?
Yeah, but basically where the companies come in. The PMCs themselves are private military companies, and they were hired on by certain companies, like, I think, Tech Labs?
Yeah, well, no, so and that's the point I was looking for. So, it looks like that Russia hired the USEC.
No, Russia had Bear. It was kind of an internally made. It was an internally made a deal within the Russian higher ups to make a kind of private wing of the Russian military, so they could do things kind of off the record for Russia.
Yes. So it was Bear. So Russia hired Bear because in all this turmoil and all these corrupt companies came and arose TerraCorp. TerraCorp, is it Corp or Core?
It's TerraCorp.
TerraCorp.
Well, it stands for corporation, so it's not TerraCore, it's TerraCorp.
TerraCorp is a biolab. I didn't read too much into them besides that, but they are a biolab, and they actually are a place in-game, which is, pretty dope. they were doing shady stuff. So Russia was like, we need to send our best guys and go investigate them. However, TerraCorp was like, no, we can't have that, so we're going to hire some great dudes from America? Yeah.
Yeah, but USEC is basically kind of like a real-life Blackwater. It's kind of a U.S. private military company that deals in security and security operations.
Big boys. Big security boys with big guns. Big beefy men. And so they were hired by TerraCorp. So we've got the USEC and the Bear, and that's kind of where we merge into our modes of the game. So just for lore and the back end of Tarkov, keep in mind that we have corporations doing shady stuff, Russia trying to investigate this, and then you've got the USEC defending the shady corporations and the Bear fighting for Russia. In all this conflict, Tarkov itself was enclosed. So Tarkov was sealed off, and the goal of the game is to escape from Tarkov. You are in the city, and you need to get out of it. So in Escape from Tarkov, you can play as either a scav or a PMC, being either USEC or Bear. So the lore, the USEC and Bear are against each other, but in-game you get to pick your faction. It's just which you prefer. There's no added benefits or bonus or anything like that. It's just a preference.
Cosmetics, I think USEC can get jeans, which is quite popular. I don't know why, but it is.
You get to pick between jeans and khakis. Okay, when I say it like that, I kind of go for jeans.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Are we USEC? I think I picked USEC.
Yeah, I picked USEC.
Okay, yeah. We both picked USEC. I started the game before you.
Oh yeah.
I made him pick USEC. So, anyways, so we were both USEC, and keep in mind, USEC and Bear as a player, that doesn't matter. It's just personal preference. You play as a PMC, where you go in with your personal loot, and you can lose it all, but your goal is to get kills, to complete quests, and to find more loot. That's, mode 1. There's no timer on your PMC. There's no timer on your PMC, but you do have to take care of your character. So if you die in game, your health when you get back to the main screen is still going to be low. You can either wait it out or, buy some meds to speed up the process. On the other end of things, there's the scavs. So real quick, you've got the scavs and the PMCs. PMCs are the guys you go in with your own loadout and have your great time. Scavs, you start with a completely random loadout, completely randomly generated. You can have backpacks, tac vests, armor, guns, whatever. And you go in as a scav at any point during a raid, and your goal is to scavenge. And so there's no quests as a scav. You're literally just a scavenger. You can get sick loot by either checking boxes, any kind of container that's around the map, or of course killing other scavs or PMCs. The latter there yields the best results, because you'll see, a big beefy PMC with a big beefy gun and some big beefy armor, and I want that beefcake, and kill him and take all of his stuff. Beyond that, anything you get as scav, you get to bring home to your stash. Your stash is where you keep all your personal items. Of course, if you die, you lose everything. Everything. And I think that's one of the best parts of the game. One of my favorite things is anything you have in raid, you have a certain attachment to, because either you want that item or it's worth some sort of money. So you're like, I need to get out. And that automatically ups the stakes of dying, because you lose everything.
And you know what? I also kind of like the insurance system, because you can insure things pre going into raid as a PMC. So if you really like your big old M4 that you made, you can insure that. And it means that if you die and it isn't picked up by the end of the raid, you can get it back. But there's that thing, if it's not picked up. If somebody kills you, runs over, takes that M4 and takes it out, you don't get it back. You get a message from Prop or our therapist, whichever one you choose to insure. Sorry, we didn't find it. And so you have that sense of, this is protected, but not by much. Exactly. This is protected by hopefully somebody who has too big of an inventory, and this isn't something they want.
Yeah, exactly. So if you make that big beefy gun as a PMC and you go into a raid, you have the opportunity to put some insurance on it. As he said, if somebody else takes it, and boom, it's gone, But if it's still on the map at the end of the raid, the insurance, whoever you insured it with, the vendor, will go and pick that up for you and then bring it back so you can have it in your inventory. It's kind of cool because that's not immediate either. It takes about 24 to 36 hours to get your gear back from insurance if nobody took it.
Actually.
Yeah.
IRL.
Real.
Oh, go on.
Go on. No, you. I insist.
Okay. So,
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So basically, you can get off that night after having a really unsuccessful few raids, and you think, oh god, I've lost everything. But surprisingly, you wake up the next morning, you can check your Tarkov, and maybe everybody that killed you had a full inventory. That or your gun suck. And you got them back.
Another, this is a little under the table thing that a lot of people do, but the idea behind insurance is if your weapon or item is still on the map at the end of the raid, and I do apologize, but keep in mind every raid is timed, so PMCs go in at the beginning of the raid from anywhere from 25 to 45 minutes the raid lasts, scavs go in, raid times are completely random. Anyways, when that timer hits 0 for the raid itself, if your stuff is still on the map, either on a body or on the floor, that is when insurance will get it back for you. So what a lot of big brain players will do if they know they're gonna die is they will toss their weapons or whatever they want insured into a bush where nobody's gonna find it, because finding stuff on the ground it's not like, oh my god, here's this item. It's, you gotta look for it and you gotta know it's there. So a lot of people toss their high value items into a bush and then just wait for insurance to pick it up, and that's what's pretty sick about it. I've done that myself. I had a really, really expensive, I think I put $600,000 into a gun, and I knew I was going to die, so I tossed it into a bush next to his body, knowing they would go after his body, and I got my gun back 2 days later, so that was pretty sick. He didn't get anything back. They took everything off his body, but I got everything, and that's what mattered.
It's just that personal attachment when you take something in, even though it might be crappy. I had a really weird Mosin. It was a sawed-off stock, but a sniper barrel. So the stock was that big and barrel was this big. I had one of those, and I knew, oh god, I'm gonna die. Your lungs punctured and whatnot. Your character's coughing and spitting all over the place. And I yeeted that into a bush. And of course I got it back, but I'm fairly certain somebody, even if they found it, they would pick it up, go, what the hell is this, and throw it back into the bush.
Yeah, Noah makes those guns that nobody really likes, but for some reason they work for him, because he'll have this gun with like a 30-foot barrel, and he'll get kills with it, but anybody else looks at it and be like, oh my god, what is this atrocity? I look at his guns and be like, oh my god, what is this atrocity? But it works for him. So beyond modes, we've got our scavs and our PMCs. And our insurance, which insurance is absolutely great. There's no need you can't insure anything as a scav because, it's not your stuff. But what's awesome about Tarkov is they have different maps, and that's what a raid is. A raid is a different location in the Tarkov map. So the raid locations are, and I have to read this off my notes because, I don't have it memorized. We've got customs, which is, a customs checkpoint. You got to go through customs and do all that fun stuff. Factory, which is literally just a production factory. This map is the smallest, most PvP based, and it will make you not only shit your pants, but hate yourself because you will lose everything every single time. That's not true. Don't be afraid of Factory. I just have a personal vendetta against it. There's Interchange, which is an abandoned shopping mall. Fun fact, thank you so much, BSG, Battlestate Games, the developers, for creating the immersion they did, because Interchange, the mall that it is, and I'll put pictures of each of these maps somewhere on screen, probably preservably right here. And so with Interchange, it is a real map or a real mall in St. Petersburg, Russia, where Battlestate Games is stationed, and I mean down to
the sign out front.
Down to the sign out front. There's an IKEA there. There is
Idea. Thank you.
It's called Idea in-game, but IRL, it's IKEA. And then there's two other stores that I can't pronounce because I'm not Russian. I know how to say Sikoblet, but even then I'm going to get flamed for that. Boy.
There's Oli.
Oli, okay. So we've got Customs, Factory, Interchange. There's also Shoreline, which is, a medical resort facility. That's where all the best loot is. It's a very large map, but in the actual reserves medical facility itself, you're going to find absolutely insane loot and one of the most expensive cards in the game. We'll get a little bit more into that in just a second. Reserves, which is a military-based, actually, what's cool about this one is it has fixed weapons, like an MG42, just chilling on a sniper tower, because you need Hellfire Rain down, and what's his name? The dude from Suicide Squad, Deadshot? Is that you need the Terminator and Deadshot both in one tower, and you can't defend yourself because one's got suppressing fire and the other's got like precision. So
there's also a fully automatic machine grenade launcher. God, that thing is scary when it fires.
No, it launches grenades at the speed of absolute light. So the military base is going to be reserves, and then we have woods, which is your typical logging camp, where they cut logs, process timber, all that fun stuff. But that one's a very wooded area. Lots of long-range sightlines, so you're going to have a lot of snipers on that one as well.
Quickly find out how accurate almost everybody is in this game, besides you, of course. You quickly find out how accurate everyone is because you expose about maybe 4 pixels at the top of your skull, and it's off.
Absolutely, and that's the worst part about that map is you'll never know where you died from. Unless it's literally face to face with your demons that are supposed to be in your head that have manifested in front of you somehow, you're not going to know where you died from. And finally, the most scary map, I'll say, just because I don't have the balls to go there, is labs. This one's a little bit more intense because it is the TerraCorp labs that I mentioned before, but you can only go there as a PMC. All other maps and maps are equal to raids. I'll put that right here. Maps equal raids. All other maps are PMC or SCAF. Labs is only PMC because the bear know where they have to go to investigate. Other than that, labs does not exist. You cannot insure anything on labs. If you insure, this is news to you?
This is news to me.
This is background stuff, or unless you play labs often, which, like I said, we've never been to labs because that we're not ballsy enough. New. So there's the idea behind TerraCorp is they are supposed to be a hidden lab. Excuse me. Take a break. Okay. We're going to use this quick break to thank Built by Gamers. Not sponsored. I just love them so much. They did hook it up with this sick jersey right there. And this sick hoodie that I'm wearing. This is their Katakana 2020 hoodie. Shout out to Built by Gamers for absolutely everything you guys do. I'll put all their links in the description as well as their beautiful logo. And thank you so much for the community they provide. I highly recommend, if you're watching this right now, you go check out Built by Gamers Discord and Twitter. Anyways, labs and TerraCorp, their entire facility is supposed to, and not even supposed to, it is off the map entirely. Scavs cannot find the map, or they're not able to find the labs. So when you try to insure something on labs and you die, the vendor that you insured with will tell you either, one, my men went to go find where labs were, but they can't find this lab that you're talking about. You must have been imagining it. He sends that message to you in your DMs. He slides in them DMs and says, yeah. Or he'll tell you, hey, my guys never came back from this labs place. They're probably dead. So you literally either don't get your stuff back because the guys all died, or you don't get it back because they didn't find it.
There are AI, I do know this, there are AI scavs on labs, but they're usually caught between the crossfire of the most beefed up players in this game. They usually, most of the time, if you go into labs, you'll see people, they've got huge truck-sized backpacks, plate vests that just can tank just about everything besides the biggest round you can find in the game, which is currently, I think, belongs to the Mosin Nagant.
It's a sniper gun.
Yeah.
Sniper bullet. Oops.
Yeah, well, sniper.
Keep going. Labs.
So they're going up against these big, beefy fellows, and basically in lore would be any scav that does find their way into there isn't going to make it out because they're wearing a t-shirt, jeans, and maybe have half of a shotgun to kill someone with.
Yeah, exactly. And Labs is home to the Red Card Room, a.k.a. the most personally... Yes, it's the most profitable room in the entire game. Just because the treasures that it has in there are just worth so much. They are extremely valuable on the flea market. And that is going to be our segue to the flea market. The flea market is kind of exactly what you think when you hear the term flea market. It is a flea market, except they're not like set up in a market around like, you know, a drive-in or whatever. There's a Phoenician flea market that's in a drive-in. That's why I say that. Anyways, so the flea market is basically this super dope market where any player who has Tarkov above level 5 can list any items they have in their inventory for monetary value. So, like, let's say I find this sick sniper rifle in raid, but I'm like, hey, I don't need that sniper. Somebody else can use it. I can sell it for 5K. I can sell it for 500,000. I can sell it for 5 million. It's not necessarily gonna sell, but I have the opportunity and liberty to sell what I want for however much I want on the flea market, because in game there are vendors, and the vendors are fixed prices. So if I get an AK and I sell it to a vendor, he's always going to give me this price unless there's a different mod on it. So your choices to sell items, and their value, of course, are between various vendors and the flea market. So with the flea market, the cool thing, I gotta move my water over here because he sabotaged my water. The cool thing about the flea market is, obviously, like we said, it's a free market. You can put whatever you want up there for however much you want to, or sell it to the vendors for a fixed price. I've gotten some cool things on the flea market. Everybody trades everything for this one really, really valuable fucking chocolate bar.
A long time.
Pardon my French, but that chocolate bar, literally, you can trade any one thing in the game for that chocolate bar because everybody wants it. Everybody wants it. Not sure why. So I kind of know why. The chocolate bar turns into sugar. The sugar is used, long story short, to make scavengers go get loot for you while you're idle or doing other things. That's the short way. Beyond that, what's also super cool, and we were talking about the realism of Tarkov and what Battlestate Games was really going for. They have a weapons modding system, and this gets in depth. You can take, and we're not going to go too deep into it because it does take a lot of time, but yeah, you can literally take apart every aspect of your gun, purchase things from the flea market like sights, like foregrips, like extra stocks, even different bodies for your gun. You want an M4 that's completely custom? Perfect. Absolutely. Just do it yourself. You can really build, and that's where his Mosins come from. His short little baby, smacked my mic. His short little baby Mosins with a 3-foot barrel, that comes from him customizing it himself. Beyond weapon modding, in the realm of weapons as well, also Tarkov's ballistics are super real. Super realistic. Super real. Anyways, so like our pretty little helmet over here, Tarkov has different levels that I don't know why. I really felt like you were going to do that, but I didn't know why.
Well, I was going to flick it just to show, like, this is a hard helmet, and I found out it's a fucking hard helmet.
Give me it. So, in Tarkov, there are different aspects of armor and, levels to everything. So there's levels of helmets, levels of armor. They're called armor classes. Armor classes range from 1 through 6, and the higher the armor class, the more damage and stopping power, the more stopping power it has.
No, I'm just watching you put it on right.
I don't know how to put this on. I can't.
Yeah, because you're not grabbing the right clip, because it is slightly busted.
What the hell? Okay. So as we said, armor classes. This is where ballistics come in. This chin strap is going to fall off my face. This is where ballistics come in. Because if you have different kinds of rounds, like armor piercing, those are going to work better against higher armor classes comparatively to a standard FMJ bullet, which is, going to go through surfaces, but not shred armor. And there's all kinds of bullets. There's high velocity. There's black point, which is, armor piercing for 7.62, 5.45 or 7.62? Both. Black point. There's hollow points. There's full metal jacket. It goes all over the place. And it's different for each and every gun. The principles are the same, but the names of each bullet are different. And there's all kinds of calibers. 7.62 39, 7.62 by 54, 7.62 by 51. For the SVD?
Yeah, by 51. No, that's for the Vepr. That's for the little Vepr.
Okay.
You're basically just like a semi-auto hunting rifle.
Figure out how to get this thing, tight around my chin. Anyways, so that's the ballistic systems. You got weapon modding, you got ballistics, you got, damage. You have different limbs when you are out in the field. You have a thorax, 2 arms, 2 legs, your head, and your stomach area. Different things happen for different places. If your legs get completely taken out, you cannot run anymore. You have to limp. Or if you get your chest completely, blacked out and you're starting to die there, you'll start coughing, which you can audibly hear in game and can give away your position.
Oh, yeah.
And that's part of what makes Tarkov so absolutely amazing is how immersive it is. If I get shot in the stomach, it's not just, my health is going to come back. I need to figure a way to patch that up or I'm at a big disadvantage for the rest of this game.
Oh, and when we talk about things getting blacked out, it means that has gotten below, completely zeroed out. There's a health for each limb, 60, and if it gets blacked out, it goes to 0. Now, the only way to recover it from 0 is to use a full-blown field surgical kit. And even then, that gets you to 1, which then you can repair there from any sort of meds, or I do this because this is the animation in the game where you take the needle off and you shove it right into the wrist.
Yeah, but as he said, each body part is going to have a certain health bar. Like we'll use 60 as an example. When that health bar for the arm gets down to 0% or 0 out of 60, it's blacked out. You can't use it anymore unless you do surgery in the field. Dr. Gray, patch me up. Beyond that, and we're all going for realism here, we've got the economy, which is the flea market. We've got the different parts of the body and the weapon modding, the ballistics and all that stuff, the lore and the different modes. So even though it's in this pre-private beta stage, Tarkov has already given us this really immersive world.
It's practically like almost, I think I said this once before, you can practically, if BSJ wanted to, if they didn't already tell us all the beautiful future plans that we're going to get into in a second, if they didn't tell us that, they could probably fix up the game, fix the servers, for some people, fix the servers, patch up maybe a few of the bugs. They could release this right out the door.
Yeah, this could be considered a full game as where it is right now, but Battlestate Games and Nikita, the creator, have so much of a bigger vision for this. Yes, and they do developer podcasts and all that stuff, and we'll get into the Twitch side of things in just a second as well. So the future of Tarkov, it's absolutely insane. They plan on adding a place called, first off, they plan on adding 6 more raids. Raids equal maps. Excuse me. They plan on adding 6 more raids, at least 6. I think it goes anywhere up to like 8.
Yeah.
Of various difficulties, various times, just all kinds of more stuff. And then eventually, since every single piece of raid is in, and I'll put the map up, is in Tarkov itself, they're going to make Tarkov itself one giant map that you can play with up to 40 players at once. Rip Nikita's servers, his dev team is absolutely crying. And it is public information that was given on stream, so I can repeat it. Nikita said that the development team for Escape from Tarkov, 15 people are working on all the coding side of it. That's not saying, designers or anything like that. He didn't give that number, but 15 people are coding this game that rivals AAA games in a private beta.
Think of all the coders that were on Fallout 76.
Fallout 76, I did, do my research, 120 plus.
No cap.
Anyways, Nikita is tackling a very big project here. With that being said, servers do go down a lot. A lot of people do complain. I'm on the side of... How do you feel about it? I feel like I'm on the side of it's a private beta and they're really trying for something super ambitious here. And I paid for it knowing it has these bugs and problems. So I'm literally 100% fine with all these drops.
Yeah, same with me. I mean, it's a private beta. There's, like I said, 15 people working on the coding, 15 code monkeys that they've got on this. And, I understand, it's a very small company, and they've just recently, this game's blown up beyond proportion. We'll talk about why in a bit. Just recently, this game's blown up beyond proportion. So it used to just be a very small amount of niche players that were playing the private beta, which the servers worked okay. Now it's being massively overloaded. They've already added a bunch more servers.
No, 17 servers in a matter of 3 days they've added. And keep in mind, a server isn't just, you can't just flick a switch and boom, more servers are up. So we're on the side of, we would like if the game worked the entire time, but Nikita, I understand, dude, you're working so hard to deliver this absolutely insane product that I love. We've literally, I don't live here. We're just here to record, and I've brought my entire setup so we can land some Tarkov. We stand this game. But anyways, back to the future of... What?
We stand BSG too.
We stand Battlestate Games so hard. Let's get back into the future of Tarkov. So we're talking about all these different maps and all this other stuff. One of the things Nikita made sure to highlight is Streets of Tarkov. Streets of Tarkov itself is going to be a massive immersive experience that is no other. Streets of Tarkov, my apologies, is going to be the meat and potatoes of Escape from Tarkov itself. Crazy big location, lots of players, so many lines of sight, so much valuable loot, so much. This is going to be streamer central. This is going to be looter central. This is going to be the heart of Escape from Tarkov.
It's gonna be, I'm fairly certain, since Streets of Tarkov, if you're ever on the game map where you're picking the raids, It's literally the downtown area of this massive city. And I can only imagine that BSG's not afraid of putting interiors. They're not afraid of putting differing angles. They're not afraid of making a realistic setting that also plays really well. I can only imagine the amount of
got hit by a flashbang. Anyways, no, continue.
They're going to add so much. I can only imagine the elevation they're going to add. I can only imagine the sightlines they're going to add. I can only imagine all the things they can do with a literal downtown city, being it that they've made a map like Factory, which is practically the size of most average Call of Duty maps, and that has layers, it's got depth, it's got differing engagements. There are some long sightlines, but there are also sightlines where you're 2 feet away from the person that you're engaging.
This game is not for the weak of heart. Last thing for the future of Tarkov, and you keep in mind, there's a lot more to the future of Tarkov. We can't cover it all because there's just...
Ever want to get an interesting read?
Yes, there's so much to it. So many guns, so many ammo types, so many armors. There's so much stuff. But the next big thing coming to Tarkov are cultists. Cultists are basically these NPC characters who run around the map with knives, and Nikita wants them to be chanting. So, chanting something like deep... Yeah, I can't stop this. No, so Nikita wants them to be these absolutely scary. I'd piss. So somebody comes up to me singing an 80s bop. Was that 90s bop or 2000? 90s.
I don't know.
It's like the 90s. Yeah, right? Anyways, so they are these cultists that run around the map with poison knives that, first off, you will be able to take and stab other players with. Poison knives that you need an antidote with, and they're going to chase you around, and they've got something to do with like these marked rooms that are in the game, and pig heads, and there's all kinds of crazy Easter eggs littered around that are tied to these maniac cultists that are supposed to hunt you down and silently kill you from behind before you even know. So Nikita thought, hey, let's take this super realistic shooter and this absolutely scary time that already is Tarkov because you want to survive, and then make it harder. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
I mean, most people are talking about like how, you can just shoot them and whatnot. Yeah, you can just shoot them, but that's if you get to see them. From what it sounds like, they're going to be able to sneak up on you. So having a set of active active ear defenders is probably going to be really important when it comes to fighting those, because it also seems like they're not going to engage you out in the open in the middle of the woods. They're going to wait for when you're inside of a close clandestine building or whatnot. So
clandestine, that's a big word.
Yeah, I have a few of those. Not many, but a few.
A couple. So, and as we're kind of getting closer to the end of this episode, because Tarkov, I'm going to be honest, you can literally drop an entire 8-hour spiel on just everything there is to know about Tarkov. And
we're novices, so just imagine.
Yeah, and we are the new people, so just imagine how deep this thing really, really goes. So there's a lot to it, but one of the coolest things that I think happened to Tarkov, and that what Tarkov does, which you may be familiar with, is Twitch drops. So as we've spoken before about looting, that being almost the entire purpose of the game besides quests and stuff, Tarkov participates in Twitch drops. And what that means is when you're watching a stream enabled, i.e. Dr. Lupo, Lyric, Summit 1G, Battlestate Games, and they have drops enabled, randomly throughout the stream, you have a chance to get some actual in-game loot. I was watching Battlestate Games with their developer podcast not too long ago, and I got a free dog tag case, which you just store dog tags from your dead enemies to prove how manly you are, macho man. And I thought that was first off, that was super cool. The fact that just for watching the game, you can get some extra loot to give those newer players like myself an extra cool thing to be like, hell yeah, this game is sick. But on top of that, Battlestate got so much support from the top streamers. Summit 1G, I totally forgot his name, I'm so sorry. Dr. Lupo first. Dr. Disrespect kind of hopped on it as it grew big.
I mean, that's like another... God, I don't want to really underestimate his numbers.
Oh, Dr. Disrespect.
That's another large number of people that I cannot comprehend.
His average is easily 18,000. Easily. The man's just an entertainment god. Yeah, but yes, Comrade Lupovsky. That's what Lupo calls himself in Tarkov. So if you ever see yourself die to Lupovsky, you know you've died to one of the greatest players of the game.
And if you get his dog tag, fairly certain it's going to fetch a high price on the flea market.
Yeah, and so let's drop some big names. Let's drop some big names. We'll put them right here. We've got Wellen, who plays the game, super amazing Rust YouTuber who switched over to different games, plays Tarkov now.
Hits all the shots I can never even imagine.
Mo's and Magic, and Summit 1G is in actually in game. They you got our iPhones, but in Tarkov in the tech store you can find 1G phones, and you can take a guess at who that is an homage for, and that's the man Summit 1. I can't even speak English. I'm thinking about Tarkov too much. That's for the man Summit 1G himself. So we've got Wellen, Summit, Dr. Lupo, Comrade Lupovsky. That is by far the best Lupo performance I've ever seen. Personally, of course, I love Lupo and all of his content, but something about Tarkov just tops it right off. Dr. Disrespect, Lyric, and the list just goes on and on and on. Tim the Tatman tried it for a little bit, and so that just expanded it even more. And so I don't know the behind the scenes of how Battlestate got the entire Twitch community concurrent. I think, what did it max out at? I don't even know.
It kind of seems like Escape from Tarkov came out of nowhere, even though it's been around for quite a while. And it's been backed by some pretty high up people in its own little community. But it was usually just a niche for a while until it got picked up. And I think it got picked up with a sale that they went on.
Yeah.
So a lot of people thought...
Hang on, wait. That's a very good point. We're gonna... I have to really think really hard about the number. And, yes, that was the number. 220,000 concurrent viewers. That is an absolutely ridiculous number right now, and so that was the number one Twitch game for a very, very long time in December, because what they did, and shout out to Battlestate Games marketing here, they partnered with all these streamers for Twitch drops, all the ones we mentioned, Summit, Wellen, Lupo, and they put the game on, and that's how I got it, they put the game on sale. And I picked it up on sale, so it worked for me, So let's get this beautiful, amazing AAA title on sale and in the hands of all of the biggest streamers on the biggest platform for streaming, and see how that turns out. And that turned their it was 50,000 or something like that. There was a very, very low amount of views into literally, and it's still consistently top 10 games on Twitch, with, the exception of sometimes other games rise, and it may drop 11, 12, but it doesn't drop below 15, and that's facts. It's just Tarkov is just something done right. I do want to ask, what is your personal favorite part of Tarkov?
My personal favorite part of Tarkov?
Flea market. This man spends so much time on the flea. I'm just kidding. Go ahead and answer.
Flea market's second, but I think the first part is getting things that I know are worth a lot of money, or I know I can put into my own little hideout, which is something we didn't talk about, but I wouldn't say it's a huge part of the game right now. It's certainly important, and it has its place, but it's just kind of a background thing almost. We're talking about more or less the main parts.
Yeah.
But it's that thing of finding, you go into a map and you studied all the flea market prices, and you find, something like this, just a little light bulb, and God, I can give you 40,000 rubles.
Yeah.
It's that feeling, that really greedy side of me that just kicks in.
And that's what the game does so well. It's it makes you feel so many emotions. So when you find something sick and you're like, oh my God, I just found this. I got to get out with it. All of a sudden, now you're scared. Now you're hype. You're super excited. And that also turns into anger if you die with said item.
There was one time I was leaving factory, and I had some really good loot as a scav. And all Joseph heard, because he had unfortunately died earlier on in the raid, all he heard is me give my best James Charles bye, and then scream fuck and throw my headset into my desk because I got shot right outside the exit.
Yeah, and that's the thing, to exit the raids, you got to get to certain extract points, and people will camp those exits and watch them with eyes like a hawk. Excuse me, because they're high value areas, and so I do remember that exactly.
Everybody's got to pass through an exit, and I understand it's a dirty underhand tactic.
But when you're fighting for your life in your wallet, how much dirty underhand stuff is there, you know?
But when you want to make some money.
When you want to make some money.
That juicy PMC who just went through 45 firefights, you know, got a broken leg and is taking pain pills like candy, walks in with like 200 health, and you yourself have like one armor-piercing round in your Mosin Nagant.
He's gonna die to me, and I'm gonna have everything he fought for.
He's gonna die to me right next to the exfil. I'm going to throw on all his loot and walk out.
And that's the dirty side of Tarkov. Dirty exit campers.
Dirty exit campers.
I think my favorite part of Tarkov.
All respect, because that is a terrifying and kind of boring thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite part of Tarkov has to be the emotions. You know, like I said, and Summit 1G said it the best himself. It's like not many games make you feel nowadays. They're just so mindless. And Tarkov, you have to put so much thought and emotion and heart into, and that literally changes everything.
Well, most games don't focus on loss.
The loss in Tarkov means so much more than it does in literally any other game. Like, it's just like there's so much more on the line than a traditional like KD ratio or whatever, you know?
Yeah, exactly, because like you earn money based off of what you take out of a raid, what you bring, and what you bring into a raid is usually a result of money or time, both of which are incredibly valuable. One is, of course, a fictional in-game currency built on my little PC here. Well, my little PC here, that's his. And the other is time. I spent time at my desk trying to get this godforsaken M4 that I've brought into a raid, and now I'm dead, and I don't have it. It makes me feel sad, but it also makes me feel like, damn it, I want to go out and try to get another one.
Exactly. And so the last question for today is actually going to be, if you had any quick words of wisdom for new people looking to pick up the game, what would you tell them? Besides, check your corners. You hear that? Check your fucking corners. Check your fucking corners.
Check your fucking corners. I think my biggest word of advice is really don't do what we did for our first raid. We spawned it at factory at 3 o'clock at night with the best stuff we had in our stash that you start out with. Lost it immediately because we had no fucking clue what we were doing.
Yeah, don't be afraid to do some research and look up into it, and don't start right away. And this is personal advice, of course, and I apologize if you disagree. Don't start with night raids. Not right away.
No. And usually start on something a little bit less hectic. So factory is very hectic and very fast-paced, and you can quickly use that to get really good at PvP because it's kind of a constant firefight, and you do have to watch above, below, and around corners. You do have to be actively aware in factory, and that's really how you get to go to PvP. I know a lot of people who train on that. I do. Yeah.
Start woods.
Yeah, start woods. It's a lot more open, and yes, you can die to a sniper that's 15 miles away that you had no clue about, but it's also, I wouldn't say it's easier, but it is easier to get into a firefight with low-level gear at a distance
and being crammed in.
Yeah, than it is to get in a firefight with somebody who's highly geared when they're right in front of you. Yes. Because they can look at you, look you up and down, see your gear, and rush you, and they know they have the advantage.
So, with that being said, we'll summarize that with don't start factory. Well, I mean, you can start factory. It's great for PvP, but yeah, the advice is don't take your best stuff in with your first raid. That's part one. Part two, maybe start woods. That's the one I feel is the most new user friendly. And then 3, definitely don't start night raids. Don't start night, because you need to learn the map. My personal advice: 1, stick with it. The game is unforgiving. Tarkov giveth, and Tarkov taketh.
This game will kick you in the teeth, but you will grow to 11. Trust me, I know I did. I actively started to hate this game about the 3rd or 4th Makarov I lost.
So basically, stick with it. Stick with it. It's going to be a pain in the butt at first. Tarkov giveth and Tarkov taketh, but you're going to want to keep playing, use the wiki, and, take your time. Take your time. Because there's so much to the game that you want to know everything right away, and you want to try your best. But it truly does take time, and at the end of the day, it is worth all the time that you put into it. And once you learn how everything works, top tier performance. It does look like, however, that is all the time that we have for tonight's episode of Renegade's Room. Like I said, thank you so much to Battlestate Games, BSG, for making such a dope game. Thank you for all the hard work you put into it and the compensation when servers go down and, taking care of the game and making just such a good product that you just want to stick with. Beyond that, once again, thanks Built by Gamers for being absolutely so sick and so insane. Not sponsored. Check them out. I'll put all their links in the description, like I said earlier. Feel free to comment what you think about Escape from Tarkov, or if you disagree with anything that we said, absolutely fine. Tell us down below in the comments and drop a sub, because there will be more Tarkov. Thank you so much for watching. Always. And until then, peace.
Have a good one.